Moving on to another story about Congress and how they are spotlighting angels across America. What is this all about? Well, we're going to find out right now. Senator Mary Landrieu joins me now, and Harold Sloke, a former foster youth intern, joining me both from Washington. Thank you so much for taking the time. And Senator, I want to ask you first, why don't you explain to our viewers who don't know about this program what the organization's all about?
Well, it's a fantastic organization. It's the Congressional Coalition on Adoption Institute. It's got over 185 members of Congress, completely bipartisan, supported by liberal, conservative, independent members of Congress that promote the idea that every child in America and the world actually needs a permanent and loving and supportive family. And we promote policies toward that end and try to eliminate every barrier one by one. And every year we celebrate in Washington by honoring, having the members of Congress choose someone in their district or their state that's done something outstanding for adoption or for permanency or for kids in foster care like RJ. And he was our star this year, got written up in the Washington Post, and we're very proud of him and very proud of the organization and the event.
RJ, you are among the thousands of former foster youth as part of this program. So if you could just give us a personal feeling on what it was like, first of all, when you were introduced to the program and how it's changed your life.
Well, I never expected to even be in the program. I just ran across it on a Facebook page, and I applied for it, and I never thought ever in my dreams that I'd be accepted to the program. And when I did, it was the best opportunity I ever had in my life, and it's brought me a long way, and I'd like to thank everyone in the CCAI
How old
staff.
were you when you heard about it?
Oh, well, I was 21 at the time. I'm 22 now.
Okay, and then so what did you do? You applied to the program?
Yeah, so I found it on a Facebook page, Foster Care Alumni America, and I applied to the program, went through all the steps of it, went through the interview process, and I got accepted.
And so once you get accepted, what does that mean?
It basically means that I'll be that I was chosen to fly out. I think it was May 29th to D.C. and start my internship. I interned with Senator Roy Blunt of Missouri, and I started that internship around, I believe it was August 2nd.
And Julie, that's one of our programs, if I could say. One of the programs that CCAI runs is the FYI program, Foster Youth Intern, and we invite about 15 outstanding foster youth, even though they've had a very tough background as RJ and many of the other young people that showed up, but they have persevered, excellent grades, pushed on despite their very difficult beginnings. They intern with a member of Congress, so they teach us more about the foster care system. We share with them opportunities for them to take leadership positions like this, and it's really phenomenal. And we give them, help them find their voice and give them the training they need to go on and be advocates for the thousands of children that are in foster care in our country that really deserve and want permanent families. And you're never too old to need a family, and RJ is going to go back and really talk with so many kids in the system and try to help them.
You know, you talk about how many kids there are in the system, and it's so true. There are so many thousands of kids that are in the foster care system, and a lot of times, you know, those kids are hoping that one day they are adopted and they no longer are going from family to family. What does it say about our current foster care system here in our country if after you've talked to so many of these foster youths, what have you learned, Senator, about maybe changes or ways that we can improve the current situation?
Well, there's so many ways that we can improve it, and RJ is going to be a phenomenal leader and already has, but we're making extraordinary progress, Julie. In the last 15 years, we've raised the number of children adopted out of foster care from 15,000 to 50,000. So we're adopting about 100%, about 50% of the 100,000 that are available each year for adoption. But they're spending still too much time. Kids like RJ get lost in the system, never was, you know, adopted. His sibling group is not together. So we have some reforms to make, and that's why some of the bills that RJ has suggested, one which keeps the records, his academic records, it's the USA Act, his academic records, his grades will be available to the states so that they can better monitor his situation. He had to go to high school to 9th grade almost 3 times, not because he wasn't passing, but because their records were lost. And so this was his idea to change the law.
It's so important people understand the facts, and I want to put some facts up on the screen in order for our viewers to understand what we're talking about and the magnitude of the need here. 423,000 children currently are living without permanent families. That means in foster families. Each year, over 29,000 youth age out of foster care, and over 65,000 children in foster care in the U.S. are placed in institutions. RJ, what does it mean by aging out of foster care? Once you reach a certain age, what age is that?
Well, I was emancipated from the South Carolina foster care system at age 18. It was my junior year of high school,
wow.
And I enlisted in the Army Reserve when I was 17. So a few months after that, I went into basic training in between my junior and senior year of high school. So that sort of prepared me for the real world when I came back from basic training and went into my senior year. I experienced some short stints of homelessness, but I worked a full-time job, and I managed to graduate high school when I was 19 years old.
I mean, that's a problem, Senator. I'm sorry. I mean, the fact that these kids can age out, first of all, an 18-year-old is not ready to go and live on their own. An 18-year-old still depends heavily on a mother and a father or some kind of parental figure or guidance. For an 18-year-old, essentially, he's sitting here telling me that he went through periods of homelessness. I mean, how is it that the government allows that to even happen?
Well, Julie, that's why our organization exists, to stop this from happening, and we've been very successful in some areas over time, but you're absolutely right. More needs to be done. That's why we have the Angels in Adoption program. That's why we have the FYI program, to publicize these facts to the nation, which, you know, in a country like ours, this just should not exist. Children should really, when they're removed from their parents or parent because of abuse or gross neglect, the law says they should only spend 18 months in foster care and either be reunited with that family with support services, or they need to move through adoption. As I said, the numbers reflect a tremendous increase in the number of children adopted. But there's a very difficult situation to place older children, not because they're not wonderful kids, but I think people just don't know how wonderful they are. Just because their families are broken doesn't necessarily mean they are. So RJ made some wise choices, but that's what this program is about, letting people know, asking the churches to step up, and having our government do more.
I would say age 18 is such a critical time for so many kids that want to go to college, and without having a stable house, a stable home, and stable guardians, how do you go to college? I mean, there's no backbone. I mean, RJ, your story is so incredible, and I'm so glad that you get to tell this story to so many powerful politicians in Washington. Before I let you go, I want to ask you about that gala that you attended on September 12th in Washington, and you got to meet some pretty powerful people there, and I hope that they hear your story, and I hope, you know, we hear change in Washington, and then you can come back and we can pat you on the back for making a real difference in a lot of kids' lives who are experiencing what you unfortunately have had to live through.
Yes, I totally enjoyed the event. The CCAI staff totally surprised me when my teacher came on stage. It was the same teacher that basically stood up to my caseworkers in the state of South Carolina to rightfully give me those credits that I earned throughout each school transition. Throughout my whole high school years, I went through 12 different high schools. So when that teacher stepped up and demanded that my credits be pieced together so I can graduate, even though I didn't graduate on time, I graduated late, but I still graduated, and that's totally important. So the gala the other night was just totally spectacular, and it's a great thing that CCAI does every year, and it should be continuing. As far as my work, I'd like to take it to the national level. I also like to potentially run for political office one day so I could change the winds of this whole entire system.
You're awesome. RJ, thank you so much for telling us your story. One of the pictures there was with Senator Roy Blunt. We really appreciate you both coming on, and Senator, thank you for helping make a difference in these kids' lives. We want to also show the website for people who want to learn more. You can go to how do you say this?
CCAI, Congressional Coalition on Adoption Institute.
Okay.
And, yep.
All right, so there's no two I's there, so it's CCA.
No two I's, just one I.
That's what I got confused
just
about. I'm like,
I.
okay, so it's sort of CCAI and Institute blended together, so it's CCAinstitute.org.
Yes.
to be
Yes.
absolutely correct. All right, thank you both for coming on. We appreciate you coming on, Senator Mary Landrieu and Harold Sloke. RJ, thank you so much, an honor to meet you.